Hello, friends. Welcome to my Thursday segment of Craft Around the Clock. You are on the page Crafting with Kimber. And if you see that red live button, then you are catching me live. If not, you are catching me on the replay. And I am going to go in here really quick and share myself into the Craft Around the Clock group. Hopefully I know how to do that. Okay, let me turn my sound down though, because we don't need to hear me twice. All right. You guys, I'm not sure if I know how to do this or not. So let's see. I don't know if I can do this. So if there is anyone watching that does know how to share me into the Craft Around the Clock group, could you do that for me? Because when I click, let me try this. You know what? I don't know how to do it. So let me go on my Telegram really quick and see if I can get one of the other ladies in the group. Let me find my Telegram app to see if they can do that for me. Let's do that. And then we can go ahead and get started. Let's see. Let me see. Come on. You know, some days there are 120 unread messages here. Gosh. Oh, goodness. Bear with me, friends. Bear with me. Goodness sakes. Goodness. Okay, I don't even know how to do this. Let's see. Why am I, there we go, I was in the wrong one. Could one of you ladies please share me in the Craft Round the Clock group? Please. There we go. We'll see what happens. If not, we get to craft together and I will share it later. Hello, Susie and Irma. Hello, Miss Tammy. How are you? I'm going to keep this out so I can watch my time. So today we have an entire hour, my friends, which is not typical. You know, normally we only have 45 minutes. So today we are going to make over this plastic witch's cauldron. So I love spooky Halloween stuff. And so this is I love the witch's cauldrons, but this plain old black cauldron is just not really all that special. It's been out in my garage, so I'm going to wipe off all of the garage dust. And what we're going to do, hello, Miss Judy. Guys, I only have 8 of you on here, so I should have paid better attention on how to share myself into the group, because this week we have to do that ourselves, and I thought no big deal, and I would do it. So we'll see what happens. We're just going to roll with it right here. And hello, Miss Judy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this drabby old plastic cauldron and turn it into something I hope is a little bit more fabulous. So I did something similar to this several years ago, not live, where but I couldn't find this shape. I just found one of the straight up and down ones. Totally not that cute. And you guys, I'm just going to try this one more time. If you guys could share me out, that would be great. Let's see. Robin says, what time, Kimber? Right now, please. There we go. There we go. Miss Robin from, oh gosh, I just had a brain freeze. Zimmy's Creations is going to get us shared into there. Yay, she's going to save the day. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is I'm going to start out by, I want to get rid of this plastic look Hello, Miss Brandy. How are you? And so we're going to do that, that covering it with the tissue paper method that I have used on multiple projects. So let me get my Mod Podge out here. There's that little candle I was looking for. And I'm going to grab a plate. So to do this, super duper easy. It does take a lot of Mod Podge though. So we're going to get a lot of Mod Podge on our plate. And I've got my, my tissue paper all wrinkled up. It doesn't matter what color you use. This one is the stuff that's got a little bit of that glitter in there because it's super cheap. So I'll buy it when I find it and keep it for these projects because you're not going to see that glitter or anything. And oh, there it is. I was going to say I had a good paintbrush up here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by covering it, and I'm wondering if I wanted to thicken up this rim with some paper, but we'll see. We can always do that later. So I'm going to do a little bit at a time here. So the reason that I'm doing this, I probably could just do the Mod Podge and paint, but I just kind of want to get rid of that manufactured plastic look. And there is a pattern from, oh gosh, let me think for a second. She's on Etsy, and I have bought many of her patterns before. And she has one that is made out of cloth. And I almost decided to do that. Thank you, Robin. You are so awesome. I appreciate that so much. Keeping calm with... Oh, gosh. I don't know if I'm ever calm. So anyway, I was going to do the cloth one. However, I decided not to because if I put this outside, that cloth, the moisture in our air here. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me.
Call from
Let me.
Issues Research.
Okay, it was a research call. We don't need to talk about that right now. So with the moisture in the air here in Oregon, that is not going to work for me to have anything outside. Oh gosh, Robin, you're a lifesaver. I should have paid better attention on how to do that. These last few weeks, you guys, have been absolutely insane for me. Not that everybody's life isn't insane, but so Monday and Tuesday, we're just kind of catching up. Okay, so what I'm doing is just putting a layer of Mod Podge all the way around this cauldron and making sure that it's stuck down. But I'm leaving all of those fun wrinkles on there. I don't want to take those away because that's where our texture is going to come from. So I'm just going to use my paintbrush and tap all those down so that they're sticking. Okay, so what was I saying about the moisture? So I tried to put some cute little decorative pillows out on my front porch a couple years ago in the fall. And I don't know, it was probably for Halloween or Christmas or something. But I have a little bench on my front porch, and so I thought, oh, I'm going to do the whole cute little decorative pillows on my bench. Well, within just a week or so, they had mildewed because of the moisture in the air here. So here on the Oregon coast, we have a lot of moisture in our air, so that doesn't work. So if I had done the cloth cauldron, then I probably would have had to battle that. Oh, hi, Dottie. You live in Salem, so you get it, girl, don't ya? Okay. So I am on the coast near Newport. I actually live about 15 miles east of Newport. 15, 13, somewhere around there. Just about a 15-minute drive. We were just there last night. We went out to dinner at the Chowder Bowl. We had some Cajun shrimp tacos. Those were really good. Okay, so I'm not being careful with my paper. I don't even know if I'm gonna, well, I should take it all the way down to the bottom. Let's see. Whoops, we got an overlap there. So we'll just kind of rip that a little bit and bring it down. And again, the more bubbles, the more texture, the better this is gonna look, because we want it to look kind of grubbied up. We don't want it to look like a plastic cauldron. And this is one of my favorite, really inexpensive ways to add texture to lots of different projects. So I'm going to put a little bit there. Take a, whoops, I'm sticking. Take a little piece from down here and just kind of cover that. Remember, we're going to be painting over the top of this. So, all right, now I'm going to take my paintbrush and gently go over any pieces that I see where there might be an air bubble underneath, because this tissue paper is going to dry and we don't want the air bubbles underneath there to pop. Hello, Gwen and Rose. You got, and Miss, my friend from Cubbyhole Crafts. And I have to remember, we're not in a hurry today. We've got a whole hour. Well, now we have a whole 40 minutes or 50 minutes. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and take this down around the bottom. You guys, this is going to be so stinking cute. You know, I have in my head, it's going to be absolutely stinking adorable. Okay, so we're going to press all that down. Try not to overlap it too much, because then that's when we get bubbles. And then, so we can actually kind of rip some of this off too. This gives the best texture. Hello from Colorado. Welcome, Karen, to the Oregon coast. It looks like the sun is trying to come out there today. We had a nice rainy day yesterday. It was just felt so cozy and I loved it. I finally, you guys, I feel like every year I'm getting more and more behind. Got my fall decor out just Tuesday. So I just have had so many things going on. But I do feel like I have reached the light at the end of the tunnel. So no more events, no more craziness. Not events as in crafting events, but events as in all the other family reunions and all the things that were going on. It's really sunny there today too. I love the fall sunshine. I took some pictures of my trees that my husband bought me for my birthday. And they are changing so pretty. Okay, so I got kind of some extra lumpy bumps here, but that's okay. Okay, guys, here's your warning. Turn down your volume or plug your ears. We are going to hit this with the hair dryer for a minute or so to kind of get rid of this tackiness. Now remember, the Mod Podge will dry really fast, so, but I need to turn, whoops, what's happening here? I'm not plugged in. Not plugged in. I got an extension cord with only 3 plugs here. Okay, plug your ears. No sun for Rose today. We're going to dry this enough to set it down. Try to get rid of any, whoops, any air bubbles. So who here decorates for Halloween, you guys? Very sunny in Indiana. It looks like that sky is clearing up really pretty today. I don't like, I say this every year, I don't like gory Halloween. I am not a gory Halloween person. I do love spooky stuff. I love like witchy stuff and ghostly stuff and just the spook. Okay, so this is already drying nicely. Enough, I think, that I can turn it upside down, but I think I'm going to turn it upside down on this plate so that if it does stick a little bit. Okay, and then we'll wrap this around. I'm not really worried about this edge. Susie likes to decorate for Halloween. It's my favorite too. So I have to kind of tell you guys, let me turn this on a little bit again. So when I'm designing Halloween kits, I always go for the cutesy stuff, right? But this year when I got my totes down and I was getting ready to decorate for fall, I didn't really put out any Halloween stuff quite yet. I decorate for everything too. So, but I thought I'm going to scale down a little bit so I'm not going to get everything out. And what do I go for but the really primitive stuff? Like for Halloween, I tend to go for the more primitive. So, okay guys, I think that is dry enough. So I'm going to hold this up for you. And just, you can see that fun texture that tissue paper gives to the cauldron. Now, really quick, I'm going to put a little bit around the top edge just to make sure that I don't have that peeling up. So I'm going to kind of rip some of this away. I'll just leave it in there because it doesn't matter. And then we are going to paint this baby black and grunge it all up. So let me, and I missed a couple spots, but that's okay, where my paper kind of ripped a little bit. It will be fine because we're going to be adding a lot of stuff to the top of this. And it is going to be just fine. Okay, so let me hit that. Let me put a little bit of Mod Podge over here so at least my paint will stick. Well, actually, I have a little piece right here. We can peel that up and stick that down. Because I do want, it's got some like little handle looking things over here, and I do want those to show. So let me just kind of push that in there. And I'm afraid if I don't get at least Mod Podge on it somewhere, then it's not going to, my paint's not going to stick to that plastic. Good morning, Barb. I like the cutesy, but I like the more primitive stuff. You'll see. Like this would have been cute to do what we were going to do if we would have left it plastic. Ooh, that's kind of fun if I could get it to do that. But it will look super cute with what we're going to do with making it kind of primitive. I'm trying to remember what the name of the site where I love her fabric primitive stuff. I did a boo years ago, and it's made out of muslin, and then it's all grunged up, and it's like really thin, skinny, and I had it hanging in my foyer, and my grandma came over and she looked at it and she's like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Why did you make it look like that?" And I said, "Grandma, because it's fun." Hello, Teresa from Artistic Treasures by Teresa. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about rinsing out my brush or anything, but we're going to come in here and we are going to paint our cauldron black. And I'm going to do it in, I think, sections of, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. But I'm just going to go right over my tissue paper. And this is a matte black. So you want to make sure, well, you can do whatever you want. I do not want this shiny and cute. Remember, I want it to be very prim. So I'm going to do probably about, okay, going around. I don't know if I'll get to half or not, but we're just going to make sure that we cover up the white of the tissue paper. And then you're going to see when we're done with this how awesome that texture. You just took a plain old pot. Let me dry this a little bit. Volume down. Oh, that's okay, Robin. Welcome back. I really need to get a hairdryer that is quieter. One of those things when you're thinking about it, you know, but then you're at a store and you're not thinking about it. And my heat gun gets way too hot. So I'm putting a pretty thin layer of paint on this because then that will make it dry faster. And we're just trying to cover up the white. So we don't have to put a ton of paint. So you can put it pretty thin so it will dry. Can you guys see yet the texture? Oops, I'm stuck to my paper here. The texture that tissue paper gave. Okay, let's get in there. All right. Now, let me give it another dry. I'm just going to kind of dry as I go around so that you already want to go buy a cauldron. It's hard, at least it was for me, to find one like this with the rim. And I'll tell you a story when I turn off my hairdryer, but I felt like I could find the ones that are just straight up and down, but I couldn't find the one with the rim. And I did end up finding this last year and bought it and saved for this project. So I got a little bit of bubbling paper there, so I'm going to have to go back later and fix that. Okay, I'm going to hold this up so you can see that texture. Isn't that fun? So see how much better that looks with a little bit of texture. Okay, again, nice and thin. I'm going around my... So here's what I'll do. If I have any, like I have some paper right there that's kind of peeling up, I will go back after I'm all done and look for spots. If I feel that they're gonna peel away, I will look for spots that that I need to Mod Podge back down, and I'll probably just like go over it really quick. Whoops, got a little bit peeling up over here. But I think that once all this paint and everything dries, we're gonna be just fine. Then we're just about done. I thought about doing this part ahead, but I wanted you guys to see how easy it really is. Okay. And maybe even some of those pieces that peel up will give it like a, I'm going to worry about the bottom later, we'll give it like a, I don't know, a little bit more texture. Okay, so you could totally like make this look rusty if you wanted to go in with your, what color, the orange paints and kind of give it that rusty look. I'm going to give it the grunge look by using some cinnamon, and hopefully I have some up here because I forgot to make sure. All right, so I'm just gonna go around my rim, making sure that the white is covered. That's my main goal, is make sure that we don't have any white showing through. Okay, let me give the top a dry really quick. Hello, Miss Shelley. Hello, my friend from the Rustic Barn. I was so excited to have a whole hour today. Probably going to be covered in black paint here in a minute because I'm not going to make sure that it's completely dry. Yeah, because we're already 25 minutes in. How does that happen even? That's okay. The rest is going to go pretty quickly. So I really struggled today with whether I wanted to do this or I also want to do a ghost, but I wasn't quite prepared for that. So, but I want a whole little scene. So maybe we'll just kind of continue on either later this week. Today's Thursday. I don't have anything going this weekend even, so maybe I'll do that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go with that. I'm gonna pick this up and kind of spin it around. But that is just regular old white tissue paper, okay? You can use any color you want. So look at the texture that we have going on now. And I love the way that that's gonna look. Okay, let me get down here, you guys, in my little stash cart and see if I have some cinnamon. Oh, please tell me I have cinnamon up here, because I really, really thought that I did. I really did think so. Let me get down here. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I do not see it up here. Let me pull my cart out. I know that I had some up here. This is my little stash cart where I don't really have a place to put anything, or when I don't have a place to put it somewhere else. And I really did think that I had, is that it? No, that's glitter. Okay, well, we may have to improvise because I am not seeing any cinnamon in there. How did I not prepare for that? So do you guys want to hold while I run downstairs for 30 seconds and get some cinnamon, or do you want me to just do it with paint? Because it'll take me just a second. And I could have swore that I had some up here. Okay, give me 30 seconds. I will run, but I will be out of breath when I come back. I'll be right back. So drink some coffee while I'm gone. Well, you guys, I totally flubbed that one up because I can't find my cinnamon downstairs either. So, thanks Tammy for the hold, please. You guys, I am like so perplexed because I know that I had cinnamon up here. Let me look in this cupboard. I have all my paper down there. Okay, so we're just gonna have to improvise because it is not showing up. And my husband took all of the stuff out of our cupboard, my baking cupboard, because we got a new microwave and he needs help replacing it, and the boys didn't. That is all glitter. All the glitter. So anyway, we are just going to improvise with some paint that will give us the look of the cinnamon. You know what? Hold on. I can visualize it in a little tin with my instant coffee. That's why I was just sure it was down here. Because I have a little bag of instant coffee, which is right there. Oh well, I don't want to take up your guys' time while I hunt for stuff in my mess. So we're just going to pretend, and we're going to grub it up with some extra paint. So I'm going to use this Craft Smart paint in terracotta. I do have coffee grounds, so we could put that on, but that's more for texture because I don't think that that's going to show up on the black. Let's get my plate off of here. So I'm going to put a little bit of my terracotta paint down there, and we're going to take our paintbrush. I got a clean one, and we're just going to dab, and I'm going to kind of mix that in with the black. And I'm just going to, let me see, I need a paper towel. I thought I was so prepared. Let's see. I know. So we're just going to kind of dab this on. Actually, let me see if I just really lightly brush it on. There we go. And I'm still going to go back and rub some cinnamon on this a little later, but for now, this will kind of give us our grunge effect. You know, sometimes in the world of crafting, you just have to wing it a little bit, right? Okay, that's going to actually look kind of cute. That looks like really heavy when I hold it up to the camera, but I can go back over the top of that with some black with a really, really light feather touch here. Stand back. Whew, now I made myself hot because I have sweatpants on. Okay, I see a little bit of white, so I'm going to go back with that. And we're making it work. Yes, on wet paint, Kimberly. So what I'll do is I'll go back with a little bit of the paint, and or maybe I'll even like spray a little bit of sticky spray on there and just rub the cinnamon into that. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm not worried. Because this part, we can always go back and fix it. It's the finishing up that I'm super excited about. So that cinnamon will come later, and I will show you what that looks like. Okay. Get a little bit of black in there. Okay, so now I kind of made it like look a little rusty, which is fine. Let's add a little bit over here. we'll add it the extra texture right on those handles. And I think that that gave it just a little bit extra color. And then we'll hit that with the hairdryer and we will move on, because like I said, this is the part that, oh gosh, that paint actually looks really cool, making it look a little rusty. Okay, so I'm going to hit that with the hairdryer and we're going to move on so we can get the fun stuff done on this. So I'm going to pick this up. And just make sure that we don't have any wet paint that's going to get all over. That actually looks really cool, you guys. So maybe we have a happy accident here. Okay. Get some of that, anything that's shiny. All right, so I see some spots that I'll have to go back and fix with some black paint anyway, but you can kind of see now that actually did make it look kind of cool. Gave it a little bit of a rusty effect, so sometimes happy accidents. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna decorate this. So I have a whole bunch of paper down here that I'm just going to stuff into my cauldron. I'm going to go ahead and set this down. Back there. So I have a bunch of stuff, packing material. So I have these bubbles. I'm going to put those in the bottom. We are just taking up space in our cauldron. So here I have, and then I'm going to just stuff all this stuff down in there just to kind of take up the space. Okay, and then I cut a piece of cardboard. Hi, Janice from Alabama. I cut a piece of cardboard that I'm going to kind of stick down in here, and I couldn't get it cut exactly right. Oh, actually, I take that back. So that is going to be the top of our cauldron, and we can push that down because I want a little bit of space here at the top for our surprise to sit in there. Okay, now what we're going to do is I went and cut a stick for our, I need to move some of this stuff off my table, for our stir stick. Go away, go away. And I picked some moss for some decoration. It's wet moss because we had rain. And then I have some Spanish moss. So let's go ahead and take our Spanish moss and put that up here. So see why I wanted a little bit of space. Tammy, this cauldron, do I have a ruler over here somewhere? I know that originally my circle, I was going to cut 10 inches across, if that helps. I don't know what I did with my ruler. I can lose stuff on this table so quickly. I can post what size it is a little later. And I would say, oh, I don't know. It's probably 11 inches tall at least, because let's see, here's a paint bottle next to it. Here is a big can from like some, I think this was pork and beans from a barbecue. So I would say that this is probably like 11 inches tall. And like I said, my original circle that I cut was 10 inches across, if that helps. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit more of the Spanish moss up here. And I'm not going to hot glue mine down. And here's why. if I hot glue all of this, then I have to store this with all of that stuff glued together. I would prefer to be able to take everything back apart and put other stuff back inside the cauldron, because I have totes, and so I'll just stick that back in there. And then I can just reuse the moss and do all the things. Okay, so I have some Halloween picks here. We got 20 minutes. Let me move my wet moss out of the way. And I think what I'm going to do, let me grab my clippers here, is clip these pieces apart. And we are going to just kind of lay those in there. I know you guys hear me talk a lot about not storing things, and that is because I'm telling you, I probably have at least 4 big Halloween totes, the big blue ones, at least 4. I have stuff shoved in every single closet upstairs, here upstairs, the kids' old bedrooms. I have so much stuff. And we used to have big Halloween parties, so I have, you know, lots of Halloween decor from the parties and all the things. And so I just need to not have to store anything else. So, like I said, at least I'll be able to take this apart and put the Spanish moss back in a bag and save that for another project. And I can just kind of move on. So I'm just tucking these pitberry branches. They've got some black rusty stars and the orange and black berries. I even have some red ones over here. I cut this for some reason. Oh, I was cutting off pieces. So maybe if I just kind of laid that in there and kind of spread those around. Can you guys see that? So just making, I don't know, making it fun and interesting. Now, let me lay these off to the side. Do I need more? I feel like I might need more. I don't know. We'll keep one over here just in case. That one's empty. Throw that in the garbage. Let's keep one over here just in case, and let's move these out of the way. And I did forget to cut a hole in my cardboard because we want our stick. Okay, let me think here. Let me see if I can poke a hole with my scissors. I'm just going to poke a hole and kind of cut an X. Because remember, it's sitting on top of that paper, so it will be fine. And we'll tuck that back in there. Find that hole. And then I'm going to break my stick about, and I want this end because I've got lots of fun. That's natural moss. So I'm going to break it right there. And then I'm going to kind of poke it down in that hole. And I'll turn it sideways. So here are my little handles. A ton of fun. I know. I was going to say I have that many Halloween totes, and then I have that many Christmas totes as well. And then I have like a tote for spring and a tote for, you know, I don't know. I just have lots of little odds and ends. I don't really like that red one on there. So we're going to ditch that. Okay. Tuck in our ends here. And I do think I need one more of these, especially the pieces that have the rusty stars. So let's poke that in there. And then where did that star go? Let's make these poke up. Okay, we got 15 minutes. And another one here. I want those stars to poke up. I think those will be extra fun. We'll just have to go back and kind of mess with those. Okay, can you guys see that? How fun is that? Okay, so here is one of the things. This was one of the ideas. I have one of these tapered candles to fit right down inside of there. Super cute and fun. I also have some of these. You guys have to tell me what you think. Some of these little mini lights that are green. Let me see. Where are we going here? Oh, there's the tab. Okay. So, do you think with this candle here, oh my gosh. Hold on. I'm on a video. Okay, bye. That was my husband. Okay, so I'm going to, oh my gosh, why do we have to do this? What do you guys think? Would the green be pretty in here with the candle in the middle or just the green lights? What do you think? So let's unfold these. These are super cute and fun. And let's take this out for a second. And we will just kind of lay these in here. We'll go back and what do you guys think? Both? Okay. So let's just kind of lay these around. I love the green. I had some purple, but I think I used them all for my swamp lights for my front porch. So I think that this is going to be so cute with one of the little witchy. So I want to make a witchy ghost, a ghost with the witch's hat. And I think that this cauldron will be super cute. Okay, let's just let this be right here for now. And then we'll kind of come back and tuck that into our Spanish moss. But can you guys see that? How cute that is? And I'll maybe add a little bit more moss to cover that. So I do have this chunky candle. It needs batteries. And I was going to do like the tapered candle. So I have those as well. Let me grab this one. This one's a Valentine's one, but so I could put that in there, or I could look for another chunky candle, a chunkier candle. The only reason that I wasn't sure about this one is just because, I don't know, maybe if I grunged it up a little bit more and made it black, we'll see. But let's put that in there for now because we still have more to go on this. So we can take our moss and we can kind of hang a little bit of that moss off the side and all of this will dry. But before we do that, I have some, and I think I'm going to need to tie this together. I have some coffee stained muslin here. So I'm just going to kind of tie that together in the back. How are we doing for time? We're doing good. And I'm going to do 2 pieces like that because I want this a little thicker. Oh, I put vanilla in this so it smells really good. Susie, those branches, I usually order a lot of stuff. I haven't for a while, but wholesale from CWI. And that is probably where they came from. I know that you can buy stuff like this at Michael's and Joann's. I'm going to move that out of the way. But that's probably where they came from. So I think if you go to Michael's or Joann's, you would be able to find it. Okay, so I have these knots back here, but that's okay. That's just going to add to the character. And before I put that moss on there, I'm going to turn this around and tie this in a knot on the front. Actually, I'm going to tie it in a bow and just let that droop around like that. Okay, now we can take our moss, little bits of creepy moss, and whoops, that's turned upside down. And I have some of the, is it called, oh, the stuff that really hangs from the trees. I might go get some of that, and we can, you know, put a little bit more on our handle here. There is just something about moss and Halloween, right? Oh, thanks, ladies. Hello, my friend at Chicken Pickens. Another Pacific Northwest friend. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of leave that like that for now. And going to move on to our next phase. I need to set this somewhere, but my coffee is in the way. So let's scooch that over. Now, what I brought up was a grapevine wreath. And have you guys seen the, there's a lot of YouTube videos that show how they make the, where the cauldron sits on, they use like spray foam and put the lights underneath it. Hello, Kelly. So that was kind of what I was envisioning, but again, I don't want to do the whole spray foam thing, whatever. So I'm going to bring my, I gotta bring my, my extension cord up here. And I have these lights. They probably also came from CWI. I have 3 sets, which after this will make 2. And they are little tiny flames. So you guys could probably find a lot of this stuff on Amazon or Etsy. I bet you there are lots of sellers on Etsy who purchase this wholesale, and and then resell it. So I would take a look. And if I had planned this further ahead of time, I could have ordered some of these in, but I'm almost sure I will look. But I'm almost sure that this time of year, this stuff is probably all sold out. So I'm just going to kind of take my little flames here and poke them in between some of the branches to hold them on. What a day. Phones rang twice. Forgot my cinnamon. My goodness. Okay, and then, so Kimberly, CWI is a wholesale craft supply source. So when I was doing more of the kits that were like the full kits, I would often order in, you know, like the pip berries and different things. Candles. I do still have a lot of the candles. So I have this candle too that I thought about using in there. But I would have to poke a hole in the bottom of the cauldron, and I kind of forgot to do that. All right, so I'm just kind of moving some of these around and making like a little, I don't know, something to set this on. And then I'm going to come back over with some more of my Spanish moss and just kind of spread that around my grapevine wreath. Now again, you guys, I can take all of this apart. I am not going to be stuck with this great big piece of something that I have to store somewhere. So I'm just kind of tucking it. I'm not going to glue anything. It will be absolutely fine to just sit. How are we doing for time? We got 5 minutes. Am I right? Let me look at this clock. 10:54. Yep. So we got 6 minutes. Tucking some of my lights up so they come up through that Spanish moss. Okay, I don't know if I ever finished my sentence about what I wanted to do. So I want to have my little witchy ghost and her little cauldron and I don't know what else. Some other fun stuff. So I'm going to sprinkle that around here. Okay, and so now I'm going to set my cauldron on top of here. And now it kind of looks like I have it sitting on top of some fire. So you could also use like a short string of some orange lights. You could use some red lights if you wanted to. But isn't that stinking adorable? So that's how that's going to sit and look. And I'm going to probably put this out on my front porch with my little ghost, or even maybe in the house. Sometimes I want to put all the really cute stuff in the house so I can look at it. And nobody ever comes to our house to see it if it's outside. Okay, so I feel like we did really good except for the cinnamon issue. So I'm going to go back with some cinnamon. I'll probably take some black paint and just kind of just brush it on there so the cinnamon will stick, and then I'll just rub some cinnamon on there. And everything can be taken back apart, so I can take the moss out of here, the moss here, put it back in a bag, store my lights really easy. I will have an empty cauldron that I can put some more of my Halloween decorations inside when I put it back in the tote, and everything will be good to go. I don't have to try to store this. So there you go. My grapevine wreath can be used for something else. Isn't that cute? And I'm going to take our cauldron and lift that up, and you can see, again, you guys, all of that texture that we added with that paper. I got a sticky spot right there. So you can kind of see then our handles, because I brushed that terracotta paint over them. It made them stand out so they didn't get lost. And it looks so much better than a plain old black plastic shiny cauldron. So we are just a couple of minutes shy from our time limit. Did you guys have any questions at all about what we did here today? I think you can find all of these supplies. I'm not going to guarantee about this cauldron. Oh, I had a story I was going to tell you. Because like I said, in the years past, I think I got this at Party City, which is now closed. The one in the town closest to us in Corvallis is closed. But they had a great big huge cauldron last year that was on clearance for $20, and I am kicking myself for not buying it, but I was like, I don't need that. I don't need it. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, my friend at Cubbyhole Crafts. Gwen, I am not sure if you can order from CWI or not. If you order wholesale, you do have to have a business license, and you have to order, you can't ever order just one of something. There's minimums that you have to order. I think you have to have a resale license with them as well. I've been signed up with them clear back from when I had the flower shop, so I'm not really sure. But, oh, does Michael's have good cauldrons? I haven't looked there this year. I know last year I was looking for one of this shape and could not find one. So when you would have to go on, it's called CWI Wholesale, but I think that, what is that other craft supply place that a lot of people order from? And I think that they get their stuff from, is it Factory Direct Crafts, I think? I think anybody can order from Factory Direct Crafts, and I think they get their craft supplies from CWI because it's all the same stuff. But anyway, so Kimberly says, yes, you do have to have a business with CWI. So, all right, my friends. So I want to encourage you to hop on over to Craft Around the Clock if you're watching from my page. Hit the refresh button, and the next person will come up. I thank you all for joining me me today, and I love this project and can't wait to set it up and add to it. So, yep, Chicken Pickens, it's factory direct crafts. So, but you guys can improvise and put other lights around here. You can find the single candles at Michael's. I do have a box of these green lights. So if you can't find something and you're interested in them, send me a message. I'd be happy to sell you one of these because they were going to be for some other kit and I didn't get it done. So thank you, Miss Denise. I appreciate that. So, all right, ladies, you have a fabulous day. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I hope you get to do something fun that you love, and we'll see you again next time. All right. Thanks for putting up with my crazy mess today. We'll see you later.